can-dos. Yeah.
That's cool.
I'm from St. Louis too, so I gotta know what's going on with Mark McGwire's 70th home run ball now.
Oh boy, here we go.
Well, I bought the Barry Bonds 73 also, so I've got 66, 70, and 73, the top 3 home run balls. So right now we're not traveling or doing whatever, but I've got them, and
so crazy.
For anybody that says, well, it was tainted, here's what I say: you'll get over it or you'll die, right? and here's what I know will be true for the rest of our natural lives and past. If you go to the record books and you go most home runs in the season, Bond 73, McGwire 70, and Sosa 66. Yeah. It's not going away. You can have a bleeding ulcer all you want. You can not like it all you want. You can be mad at it all you want. They're not changing that book. I'm more concerned about the book than
the paper wearing out
than your emotions. I got the 3 top record balls. That's
I loved
cool.
it. It was so exciting at the time because I was at the game whenever he had the 60. And it was just incredible. And for me to like be super into baseball at the time and the home run race, and then for the 70th home run ball to be bought by you, and I was into Spawn at the time. Those worlds of baseball and comics had never intermingled before that moment.
Geeks, we're both geeks and fandom.
I just actually bought somebody's baseball card collection. I was on a trip in Vermont, and this lady was in an antique store, and I went in. One of my friends is a big baseball card guy. We grew up together. We collected cards together. And I bought like 50 of them, and I sent him a picture. I'm like, hey, Billy, check these cards out. And I won't use the same language he used. He's like, get back to the store and buy that whole collection immediately. I'm like, okay. So I went back there, and she's like, okay, you want to buy all these? I'm like, yeah. She's like, okay. I'm like, well, so I took a stack of 50, and I'm like, so that's about 50. She's like, no. We're going to count every single card. I'm like, 2,700 baseball cards, ish. I'm like, oh my, she said 5 cents a piece. I'm like, okay, so good.
Wow.
So I mean, that just rolls into that collector mentality, which is why you're here. What a segue.
Yeah, I know.
Do
exactly.
it. Now it's up to you.
Asking about where stuff is now. What's going to happen with that gigantic version of the 100?
It's in someone's house. It's going to be in someone's house.
Is it downstairs?
No, it's over at the Balboa Park exhibit. Were you there?
No, we got like one pass for it, and I was here with my girlfriend, so I gave the pass to one other of our friends who is a member of that.
Can I say something about it? So they auctioned it off so the money could go to the museum and help keep it going, whatever.
Yep.
At the time they were auctioning it off, prior to that I'd run into Frank Miller, right? So it was getting a little bit noisy, so we were sort of walked around the stage, and we were having a nice conversation about a bunch of stuff. And then it was like the auction was over. Can I just say, if I knew what the price was for that, I would have. I would have bought. I would have paid.
I would make you another one.
I would have paid more for that.
Yeah, what did it go for?
6,000.
6,000.
I go. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? I would have paid more for it. So here's what I did. I found the person who bought it, and I go, "Where are you putting it?"
Oh yeah, that's a good question.
And he said, I don't know, I'm from Indiana, I don't have a place. He just bought it. He just wanted to contribute.
I just bought it. That's awesome.
I go, hopefully he cleared it through his better half.
Wow.
So he goes, I think I got a friend here in San Diego just going to store it for me.
Welcome everybody to the Warner Brothers and DC booth. Now
so I said,
the cast and executive producers
I've got a pretty big foyer in Phoenix. If I go do some measurements and it will fit in my foyer, can I store it for you, right? So it's true. So he's like, yeah, I don't care, because I probably won't pick it up for about 2 or 3 years.
So
I can have. So I may actually own it for 2 or 3 years and not have to pay for it, and have. I got to just make sure I know exactly where I put it in my foyer at my office, and so it may be there for 2 or 3 years. So I'll stay tuned.
That'd be cool. You bolt it to the roof of a car and drive it around. That'd be kind of neat.
That would be a fun thing to see around.
We need a Hummer.
Yeah, a Hummer. Yeah,
I remember
it's really heavy.
In Pittsburgh at the time that they were filming Dark Knight Rises, and it was just crazy. Like people would see the trucks going by with like the tumblers.
Oh, so crazy. Yeah, that's crazy.
Just out in the open, not covered up for anything.
Yeah.
So can I get a look at that?
No, I don't think so. It's kind of far away.
Talk about going with you. So how involved were you in the transition from 2D into 3D for this thing?
I was involved, obviously. I mean, somebody has to start it, right? So Jim could probably talk about their initial conversations and what he had talked to with the sculptor, a great talented guy named John Matthews. And then I don't know if I even had a conversation. I might have had a conversation myself with John after he had one, but I said, just, you've had your conversation. Go start, and then let me react to something instead of worrying about what's in my head. Because, I never try to get creative people to if you have too much of a conversation, they get paralyzed a little bit.
So you can freeze up sometimes.
Yeah. So you just go, John. My conversation was, John, they picked you because you must be really good. So show me some of that good, right? Go. And he took off, and he did it. And by the time I got it, it was about 85-90% accurate. Like I went, wow.
Yeah.
I don't know what the early conversations were.
I basically was like, you're not getting much reference.
There was one cover. That's right. Yeah. That's right.
That's it.
Yeah, that's right. See, if you're trying to do like movie and TV stuff, you get hundreds of pieces from every angle. In a comic book, they give you like that one image, and they go nail it, right?
Yeah, and all the statues that we did, the black and whites, are like that. Yeah. Mike Mandola just the front, even Jim Lee's just the front view. This one's the front view. We got to figure out everything else in between.
Everything else.
I was intrigued by. I was just curious about how the folds in the cape would happen when I heard.
Yeah, me too.
What it was
I was intrigued as well.
Can I raise my hand and join that club? Right? Because I was thinking, if I was going to make my own drawing or my own toy of this drawing, how would I solve this problem? Yeah. This is a problem solver right here. So what he has to do is take the one image, and like you were saying, all 100 statues are like this, and then you have to then add 3D logic to it. You have to close your eyes and go, what would it look like, and is it logical, and does it make sense?
Because resolving on, you look underneath this thing, under where the capes are. We had like from the top view, you have some of this information, but you don't have all this swirly undercuts and everything else. It's just not in there. So like Todd's saying, someone's
on the top.
Yeah, that's cool.
How far does that go up?
Yeah.
Right? I mean, he has to interpret how far it folds out and stuff.
Yeah.
So he had to make some smart, logical decisions.
Take a photo and keep walking. Thank you.
I don't know about Jim, but I'm blown away at how fast and quickly he got there.
Yeah, it's
I thought this was going to be a longer process. And honestly, I thought it was going to be a longer process.
Yeah.
And this was skidded. I don't know about your other 99, but for me, I thought this thing went pretty fast.
Of course, in all honesty, it had to go pretty fast because we needed to get it here, and then we had to make a full-size statue. We had to get the drawing ready. That's being handed out the booth. So, but again, I don't feel like it was rushed. It just worked really well.
Does it look rushed?
No, it's not.
How does the process start? Does it begin with like 3D modeling?
Yeah, this particular one, they're not all. Some of the guys we have are still traditional. I try to have the sculptors that I don't care if they're working traditionally 3D, as long as it looks the way it's supposed to look at the end of the day. Yeah. I mean, John actually was, funnily enough, was one of our last holdouts to go to 3D. He was a traditional. He's always been traditional. We're like, John, when you're doing something like Harley Quinn was from like the Arkham game, that's when he realized, oh my God, why am I still? Because every buckle he's got to build it. But this way you get one model build.
And what he's saying is that in 3D you build the one buckle and multiply it.
And
so you don't have to sculpt it. When he was doing it, if there's 12 buckles, he had to sculpt the exact same buckle 12 times.
Yeah.
But now you can sculpt it once and then go blah 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 blah, and it just copy paste. Right?
And even changes are easier at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And then what happens after the 3D modeling phase?
So that gets done. Then we basically output it in our office. We have a printer. Well, first we have to make sure Todd was cool with everything, and we had to figure out. There it is, approved on the spot. We actually had to work out the face because in the original drawing, it's like this and then black, and then there's a woman in here.
His face is all black when you look at the original one.
And there's a woman in here that he's holding.
Yes, I know. So, I had to. We got the exclusive for the Mondo poster that came out a while back, and they sent us that image first, and then they're like, "That's the wrong one. We'll send you another one." And I was like, "This looks like the same one." And then I was like, "No, there was like a coloring mistake in this."
That's it.
So I had I was like, "There it is," and then I just had fun for an afternoon of sending the two to people and being like, "Can you notice the difference between them?"
That's a good one.
How long it would take.
But the new one obviously is based on this, so we had to work out what we're going to do in there. So after that got figured out.
And as weird as it is, John got to all of this really fast, which was staggering to me. And then,
the longest.
Like, what are we going to do with the chest and below the nose? Actually, took just as long to sort of go, well, you make it, nothing's there, which is what the comic book drawing does, because you never have to make it 3D, and it looks cool on paper.
Yeah.
Do you make a face and then paint it black, right? Do you do something in between? And then, what symbol are we going to put there? Where are we going to cut it if we get rid of the female? And how big do we want to make it, blah, 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 right? But to me, this area right here is a lot of information, right? So to me, which is why I call it a graphic image, and even here you get it. You've got your face and you got your chest. Instantly, you show those two things right there to anybody, Batman. And then the rest of it, if you put your thumb over that, is now just what's the cool graphicness of it, right? So you take part 1, part 2, you put together, and you got this interesting looking Batman image that people can now have on their desk.
Yeah, I like the mouth on him. I prefer a Batman who's got like a more narrow jaw. I like a big lantern jaw on a Superman, but I like the difference.
Yeah.
I think he said that I had done some drawing, or he saw some drawing I did on Facebook Live.
Yes.
I had done a Batman or something.
Right.
I'd forgotten about it. And he goes, I was kind of using that as reference. And it was like,
we pulled that in some of the issues.
Yeah, so I'm going, okay, that's okay, except don't be too loyal to it, because never use somebody's 2-minute drawing as being the gospel, right? So
that's actually true. And Jim Lee, when we work on his stuff, says the same thing. He's like, don't trace this in a sculpture.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm trying to actually do.
Yeah.
And that's interesting, because that's where you got to find a balance with your sculptor, because they've got to figure out that part of it. Like, working with the artist and be like, okay, so you don't want this exactly, but you kind of want this. So, but yeah, John's one of the great ones for that. I mean, he's interpreted some of our best. He's actually sculpted the most Batman black and white statues.
I've noticed
as
that
well.
after reviewing it.
Yeah, well, the first one he blew me away with was that Mike Mignola one. That like set a precedent for that statue line a long time ago.
Yeah.
And he didn't have a lot. There wasn't much more information than this one to work with. So.
Yeah, as you were saying with those like the Facebook Live videos and like the YouTube videos you do, I'm not a full-time reporter. I'm an IT guy somewhere, but so like whenever it's awful in the office, I like to doodle. I'm drawing more now since I've been an IT guy than ever before in my life, and so I like to look at those videos and just pick up on things. I watch ones that Jim Lee does and Chris Sam.
What's fun about him is, which is why I like the internet for a lot of amazing reasons, is that there are now literally tens of thousands of artists that are basically now giving some of their sort of words of wisdom and putting them on video. Everything from super complicated how to do a realistic painting, and I love it because I watch some of it. I go, wow, I don't even know how to do that. My attitude when I'm doing it, which is probably even 2 tiers down from Jim Lee, is I'm trying to teach in a way that I assume the person watching doesn't draw. So I do a lot of tutorials of, if you don't draw, here's how you do an eye. Yeah. If you don't draw, here's how you do a nose. Here's just some basics. And then sometimes I'll do the one that's like, oh, we're going to do some character from the book, but that one's quick. But I enjoy the ones that's just saying, if you're 9 years old and you're watching this, you can draw eventually, right? Just go get your piece of paper and copy some of this and then improve upon it. And I get more fun out of that than worrying about whether I'm going to turn somebody into a master painter or something like that.
Is there any real trick to doing like fabric, like with the cape on that Batman? Because I was always drawn to how the cape on Spawn would flow.
So I'll tell you what my thought process is. So some of the best capes that I saw early were by George Perez and then John Byrne, and then this guy came along that just went nuclear on me, which is a guy named Marshall Rogers, and he did this short run on Batman, and he did these crazy big giant capes. And I went, so I can use what George Perez and John Byrne are doing, and then I can do that Marshall Rogers and mush it all together. So there's no accident Spawn's got this cool big cape, because Marshall to me was like the cape guy. He was the cape guy.
Totally.
So what I've told people at times when I'm drawing Spawn is, to me, if you've ever made a paper airplane, his cape is a paper airplane to me. Right? It's not billowing so much. It's folding. There's a little bit of starch in it.
Like origami.
It's a little bit like origami, and then it tapers off, and you can get into it. And some people, because Greg Capullo had a different take to it, and he would put some sort of softer lines and some more jagged in, and then everybody is done to me twice as much as what Greg does, and then the cape looks wrinkled. You ever see those ones where the cape looks wrinkled?
Yeah.
And I go, no, I'd rather see less lines and it seemed solid and big and powerful than when it's wrinkled, because a superhero with a wrinkled cape is not impressive. No, but it's not impressive to me, right?
I know what you mean. Yeah.
Nobody. I mean, other than some villains who got some cool wrinkly ones.
Oh yeah.
It's part of their character. I haven't seen any sort of drawing of Batman Spawn that's super wrinkly that I have found intimidating. It's not intimidating when I go, dude, did you sleep in that last night?
Sir, your cape is wrinkled.
Yeah, you slept at it the hotel, right? You should have taken it off where you went to bed.
I mean, or at least press it in the morning.
Yeah, so you're not going to beat me up because you're not even impressive, is it?
No, it's so.
Todd's Tough Guy Challenge to all you cosplayers.
Yeah.
Don't bring your wrinkly capes to Comic-Con.
That's it.
So, do you think you would ever work with DC again to maybe design like some villain statues or anything like that? Because I'd love to see like how you would draw a Scarecrow.
Well, actually, that line would that line in particular would support another statue from Todd if you want to go there, Joker-wise or favorite villain, because we've had a lot of people in mind. We don't. It's not the whole Batman black and white line. Isn't just Batman. There's actually we haven't done a. Oh yeah, we did one Scarecrow, but there's been there's Joker in there, there's Harley in there, there's a Scarecrow. So that would be a possibility if you want to hop back in and like do a companion piece for that.
Yeah, so
with a wrinkly cape though.
Yeah. So I've had conversations with people, and I've had it more than once with like Jim Lee, right? That it goes something like this. Jim, you know I'm never walking in the front door of DC Comics. I can't. I'm the president of Image Comics. I'm the only guy since we started that has never done a page for Marvel and DC since we left, right? I can't do it, right? It just, my brain can't go there, right? So, but I go, there's this weird way that I can come in the back door, and that we're now got this license with DC Multiverse, and once everybody gets comfortable, if you cut me loose, I can do maybe some crazy stuff. If you then take the crazy stuff and put it in your comic book, and it gets in that way, because I don't control those designs because I'm just making the toys. Warner Brothers owns those, right? So, but I'm not going to design a Batman costume in the front door. There may be a way in the back door, right? So, and so we're just starting to have those conversations, and everybody's going, oh, okay. And there may be a value to expanding on those conversations once everybody's comfortable.
Yeah, that was going to be my last question, is if McFarlane Toys was going to be able to do anything with Batman.
Well, look, here's what I tell you. I'm not a shy guy. And so I constantly ask every one of my contracts that I have, and the people and the clients, can I do this, can I do this? And the answer is either yes, no, or maybe, or come back to me, right? Warner Brothers is not going to be any different. So we'll build our confidence with them. We'll trust each other, and then maybe when we're all comfortable, then I just start turning up the flame, going, hey, what about? And I'll start showing them stuff, and they'll say yes or no, and then the next day I'll give them another one, and the next day I'll give them another, and then eventually I'll just do what I've done my whole life. I'll just wear them out, and they'll go, fine, you can do that one damn thing over there. Just get out of my office and stop coming back. And I'll go, yeah,
wear them down. I like the strategy. That's good.
I
wear them down.
All right, well, thank you guys. I thoroughly enjoyed this.
Thanks for coming. Have a good show.